Hi, I'm Bybreen Samuels and welcome back to another episode of Soul Stirring Astrology, where I give you my textured take on the world of astrology. So we have a full moon taking place in Taurus on the 4th of November. But before I get into that, I want to say a big shout out hello to the wonderful Anton Rose Reed. And he, like you, is one of my beautiful followers. I'm really grateful for everybody that pays attention to my channel, all the support that you give me, and it's still very surreal when I'm going about my everyday life and people approach me in the street, or as Anton did, in the astrology bookshop. So it's a surreal feeling when you put out content and you meet people who are supporters of what you do. So thank you every single one of you who supports me on this wonderful journey of sharing astrology with you. As you know, it's my heart and my soul work and I love to share it with you. And Anton, it was beautiful spending some time with you, having a chat and having a coffee. So, hope all of you are well. And this full moon that takes place in Taurus, as I said, it's on the 4th of November, and the moon is exalted in Taurus, and so therefore it's in its kind of place of glory. And so Taurus being an earth sign, and this full moon is actually in water. And the reason for this is because the sun is in Scorpio, as well as Mercury, as well as Jupiter, and then we've got Chiron and Neptune in Pisces. So we've got this watery full moon in Taurus, and when you mix water and earth, it gets a bit muddy, it gets a bit slippery, which means that foundations in your life are becoming a bit weak and loosened. And with this full moon, it's an invitation for you to think about, where are you disconnected from your values? Because with the moon there, the moon in Taurus is really about your values, what it is that you value internally, and is there a disconnect there, which is the most important one, as well as is there stuff showing up in your external world that you need to protect and understand how you're going to re-solidify your life. And so when we're looking at the moon, we're dealing with emotions. And you may be somebody who has lived your life whereby this sense of unexpressed needs, and you project them onto other people and expecting them to understand, work out what it is that you need and you want, and when they don't, you become frustrated. So this full moon is about your inquiry into, where are you self-deceiving? Where are you unsure about where you stand? Because now that we've got this full moon and it's in water, so there's this sense of shifting sands, but it's also a great opportunity for you to reunite yourself. If we look at what's going on in Scorpio, we have the sun, Mercury and Jupiter. So the sun here, sun's about your identity, and it's been strengthened because it forms a sextile with Pluto, and the sun is in the sign that Pluto rules. So here it's about, asserting your identity. Who are you? Standing up for what it is that you believe in. But also with the sun here, it's inviting you to think of and to confront your fears around what it is that causes you to be uncomfortable, have an inability to express to other people what it is that you need. And with Mercury in Scorpio, Mercury is about, you've got to speak your truth. It's about cutting through all of the fluff, getting to the heart of the matter. And so it's about understanding your sense of power. So the sun and Pluto is about power. It's about how do you assert or show your power in your life. And Mercury here is about understanding your sense of your personal power. And if you can put these two things together, with Pluto it's saying, well, here you are, show your power in the world. But also we need to look at Neptune, and the reason for this is because Neptune unites both the sun and the moon. So Neptune is over there in Pisces, we've got the sun in Scorpio, so therefore it forms a trine. And then we have Pisces, and we've got the full moon, which is in Taurus, and therefore we've got this sextile. So if we look at the concepts of Pluto and Neptune. So Pluto wants you to demonstrate your personal power. And here it's really about feeding the ego. Whereas Neptune is saying, actually, you need to bring together what separates you. And so it's about loosening, getting rid of, dissolving the barriers and the boundaries. Those are the internal ones as well as the external ones. And internally, it's the invitation to think about your ego and your soul. And if you keep them separate, then you're always going to be out of harmony with yourself. Or you're going to overemphasize one part of you. If you live in that very Plutonic way, you're going to be exercising your power. But then it loses strength if you're not tapping into the whispers from your soul. Also, when you're looking at Neptune, Neptune invites you to think about, where are you escaping in your life? Where are you living out the fantasies of your life? And where are you confused in your life? And because all of these things have the potential to stop you, to block you from actually taking action. And with the full moon in Taurus, it's about solidifying and taking action. Now, interestingly, we have Saturn, and Saturn is at 24 degrees of Sagittarius, and it also is at the degree that Pluto was when it was in Sagittarius back in 2006. And so between 2006 and 2007, the echoes of that period are showing up with Saturn in Sagittarius. So if we go back to Pluto in Sagittarius, so Pluto here is about the exercise of your power. It's in Sagittarius, so it was, how did you exercise power that enabled you to show your wisdom and take that out into the world? So my life back in 2006/7, when Pluto was at 24 degrees of Sagittarius, was that I applied to become a Winston Churchill Fellow. So it's an internationally recognised leadership award, and I did become a Winston Churchill Fellow. So I was one of 100 people selected from the whole of the UK to act as an ambassador, where I went to do a research project in China, and I had an amazing time. So here we have Pluto, the exercise of power in a positive way, sharing wisdom. And I went to China, which is a Sagittarian, long distance travel. And so the wisdom was around, recognising the position of older people in society. So what was your journey back in 2006 and 2007? At the same time, Saturn was in Leo, so it was in the sign of its fall, because Leo is opposite Aquarius, and Aquarius is one of the signs that Saturn rules. If we go back to 2006 and 2007, they were the prelude to the economic downturn, right across the world. If we think about Saturn, Saturn represents authority figures. And it was the authority figures that destabilized the world's finances. And so what we're seeing here is that this pattern is being echoed here in 2017, certainly in 2018 and beyond. And the reason being is because Uranus moves into Taurus. That's going to be from May 2018. And so Uranus is about the sudden changes in fortune. And it's in Taurus, and so Taurus is about your assets and your money and your resources. So don't be surprised if there is this economic downturn. So with Saturn currently at 24 degrees of Sagittarius, what it's inviting all of us to do is to think over the last 2.5 years and how we have cultivated our personal power, how we becoming the guru, our own expert, and using our wisdom in the world, because we're going to need that as the world rolls into this Uranus into Taurus, but also because Saturn is going to have a 5-year run in the signs that it rules. So Saturn moves into Capricorn as of 20th of December. Will be there for 2.5 years. Then it moves immediately into Saturn into Aquarius, the other sign it rules. And so with this prelude of Saturn in Sagittarius, it's about, have you exercised, have you cultivated your sense of value? Do you understand your value? Because you're going to need this sense of authority as Saturn moves into its own signs, and with this turbulence that's showing up with Uranus into Taurus. And I'm going to do another episode specifically around Uranus into Taurus, because Uranus represents tech, and so what we may see is this continuing rise in cryptocurrencies, but that's for another episode. So this full moon in Taurus is the invitation to excavate what's blocking you from understanding your true value, how you articulate that value, A, to yourself, so you're continuing to feed yourself, you're building that inner strength, but also with the wider world. So the full moon gives us the opportunity to think about this. You know, we're sort of in this muddy waters at the moment. You know, the earth is a bit destabilized. You know, we're seeing this in terms of, you know, the environment, you know, the hurricanes that we're seeing and the earthquakes that we're seeing. And with Uranus moving into Taurus, it's going to, as I say, destabilize. And one of the things that it will do or could do, or it's highly likely it will, is going to start disturbing your resources. So there you have it. Quite a lot to take on board. And which brings me to the quote of the day. And it's by Anthony Liccione. And what he said is this, is that the more that we lose our material things is the more that we lose. And the more that we lose is actually the more that we win. So what is it that you need to lose? Is it this sense of always keeping your needs unexpressed? Do you need to let go of that way of being because it's blocking your sense of joy? You know, we've got the moon, it's in Taurus. So in terms of, you know, exploring and enjoying the physicality, you know, sensuality, intimacy, sex, you know, because we've got the sun and it's in Scorpio. So we've got these sensual and sexual signs coming together. Also internally, you know, what is it that you value? How can you articulate that? Using that Mercury, it's in Scorpio. So it's time to reevaluate, bring yourself together before Saturn moves into Capricorn. And so it brings me to the question of the day. What is it that you're going to do that brings a sense of you understanding how you're going to cultivate your inner resources as well as your outer resources? As always, beautiful people, put your comments and questions in the comment box below. You know I love to connect with you virtually as well as offline. Feel free to share this episode with anybody in your network, and please like and subscribe to my channel. And until then, enjoy this full moon that's coming up. And it's the prelude, as I say, to this Uranus going into Taurus, which is in about 6 months' time. Okay, so until then, stay well, keep exploring, understand your value, and I will see you again on the next episode. Bye.